Now, the next step at this point is that when you're doing data management, do not work with summaries, because summaries will actually eventually be the end product. So you need to look around your data, especially on the far right and far down, to see if you have anything that looks like subtotal, total, or summaries. So we need to delete them, because that is going to be the end result of our operation at any point in time. So I'm going to scroll to the far left, and you shall see that from column I, assuming you deleted the way I did, column I, J, K, all the way to M are summaries. This was a total interest, which means it was adding some column called interest. I'm not sure where that is. Then total payment, then penalties, waivers, and everything. You want to ensure that you do not have such columns that are summaries. But let me just see. So we have application date, amount, disbursed, opening. Actually, we can leave out columns I to L. Let us only do away with column M, which is the balance. Let us do away with column M, which is the balance. And how best to delete a column, just like we used in rows, is you select the column, then you could remember to press Control minus. Alternatively, right click. Alternatively, having selected the column, right click, then you shall see delete there. But I usually find it very quick to press Control minus, and we make that column disappear. The other thing is we want to look all the way down to see if we have a row we want to do away with. So instead of scrolling all my way down, and I'm as lazy as I am on a Thursday evening, I will click on any cell, then press Control the arrow down, so that Excel can take me to the last cell down there. Control down. You realize we skip all the way down, and then when I go to the right, you see there's this last row called cumulative totals. Can you find it? Row 275, cumulative totals. When you find cumulative totals in that last row there, you remember to again do Control minus on it, and we have our data set now sitting well. Now, yes, please.
Sorry. I think tonight wishes to make a comment. He has something burning from his part.
Yes, tonight. Yes, tonight.
Apologies, maybe I've pressed the error.
Okay.
I'm okay, thank you.
You're okay tonight? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Somebody's indicating they got lost at how to duplicate data. What we did is we copied the data, but at the point of pasting it in the new sheet, instead of doing Control V, so maybe I'll just illustrate by going to my data. We copied the data, so I'll just copy it one more time for your case. So we came here and selected data. You can see me. I'm not sure how prompt the remission on your end is coming on. So we copied the entire data. Control C to copy. We went on a new sheet. We came to a new sheet. Then on this new sheet, yes.
Sorry to interrupt, Joshua. It's yes. Me who asked the question, Getty here.
And you.
And yes, so it was not at the beginning of the session, but just as we got to delete the columns that did not have any data.
The columns that don't have any data.
Yes, I missed the part where you were talking about the 2 duplicate columns. That was on the loan data. So from there, I think I got lost a bit. So if you could please just repeat.
Sure thing. So I'm going to just come to my working stand and do 1 or 2 steps. So let me see if that. Okay, let me just create a quick copy of this data. So Control copy, come to my new sheet here. And then instead of pasting, I'll come here and say, I want to do a 1, 2, 3. Then I remember what we did is we deleted the first columns up here, Control minus. Then we came and selected the entire of this data, and we did a double click here. Then now we wanted to delete the columns. Now, what I didn't mention, and I think it's because of the interest of time, remember our data had some columns that were merged. So you realize that column B and C is a replica, apart from the first cell for B. Column B and C repeats the same thing. If you look at any side-by-side number, that happens for all columns that were merged in the original data. For instance, look at column M and column N. Exact replica. column O, and column P. The only thing that doesn't repeat is the first two cells, and that is because the names had been merged. So that is maybe the part I failed to illustrate to us. So what we needed to do is to be able to delete the blank columns, which I indicated that when you click on any blank column, you shall not see the summary statistics down here. Then what we also figured out is because the name was not repeated, if I can be able to find a smart way of selecting these blank cells and instructing Excel that when you find a blank cell, delete the column, because it means if it doesn't have a header, we don't need it, because it's already been, it's a replication of what we have in the previous column. So what we did is put your cursor, Getty, on the first cell, written customer. We with you? Press and hold Shift. I'm hoping you've done that. Press the right arrow key. Now, towards the right side, you have the up, down, left, and right arrow keys. Because we want to select going this direction to the right, press and hold the right arrow key until you see the word balance right there. We have selected the entire of that area. Then now we want to tell Excel, please stop selecting any cell that has data. Only leave me with the cells that doesn't have data. You get the twist? So instead of coming and selecting this blank cell, control, click on this cell, control on another cell that is blank, we want Excel to do that for us. And the essence of this class is to make you fast in your data manipulation, right? So what we're going to do is, I will come, while this area is selected, you will go to find and select. Now my spotlight went off. Let me just, yes, right there. So follow the little small red dots. Almost sounded like the brown fox that jumps over fences in primary. So come to find and select, you see it? So find and select, click on the drop down. Then I want you to choose go to special. I want you to choose go to special. So this is again for the case of those who had gone forward, just to again make that be marked clearly in your mindset. So we click on go to special. Then because we want to select the blanks, I come here and choose blanks. Can you see blanks? The fourth selectable command icon there. So you click on blanks, then you say okay. What happens is some cells have been selected, but all the cells selected are cells that had blanks. You see, we have a blank, we have a blank, we have a blank in all these areas. Then now don't click inside the data set, because if you click, you're going to lose this smart selection you have made. Proceed to tell Excel, for those cells that are blank, delete the associated columns. So how best to do it? You can right click, but right click might be tricky at this moment because you might end up single clicking, which will be equivalent to having clicked inside the data. So the safer one is to come up to the cells ribbon. You can find it. You see where my small red button is hovering on? Yes. Click on the drop down under delete. Click the drop down just to the right of the word delete and press delete sheet columns. This will delete the sheet columns of the cells that are currently highlighted, which to our advantage are the blank cells. You see what I mean? So click delete sheet columns, and I believe you should be where we were. Getty, please confirm. Probably you are on mute, but I want to assume we were able to move forward.
Yeah, she's all good.
Yes.
She's all good.
All
yes.
good, thanks.
And then we proceeded to delete column M, which was balance. I'm not sure if you've done that. Column M. We deleted column M because we said we don't want to work with summaries. Then after deleting column M, we did control down to just check if we had some summaries down. Then we also found row 275, which was another summary, and also pressed control minus to delete it. Are we all good? So I'll go back to my workings data to be able to proceed with it. I'll go back to my workings data to be able to proceed with it. So my workings data right here. And we now want to start looking at column by column and checking what we need to adjust on. We want to check on column by column and deciding what we want to adjust on. But before we finish on the columns, allow me to finish with the header. Remember, we said the first row must always be your data headers. But just notice my row, the header seemed to be sparsed out. I can see the word customer in row 1 and the word name in row 2. I can see the word loan in row 1, the word number in row 2, which means it seems in that, and I'll just take you back to our data so that you can see something. You notice that these two columns, depending on the way this person was modeling their data, they decided to have the word customer name separated in 2 rows, and we don't blame them for that. our intention here today is to change this in a way that works for us. And if I remember my English well, I was told the word customer name ought to be one word. So we're going to have the first trouble of making these two names come in one cell. Do you agree that is a problem we're having? I'll take that for a yes so that we save on time. So the first thing I want you to do is to add for me a row just below the word name. Add a row for me. Now you notice that when you add a new row, it is added above the row that you select. The same way, if you add a new column, it is added behind the column you select. I believe you used Excel, and that is kind of cliche for now. So I'm going to click row 3 because I want a row just above the word Agnes. Okay, so you click on the row, just on the row headers like that. Then just the same way to delete a row or column, you press Control minus. To add, you click Control plus. But there's usually a small problem here. Most of our laptops have been configured such that the plus button appears above in the button that has the equal sign. So many times when you're doing calculations and you intend to press the plus button, you usually press Shift and that button that has the equal sign. You agree? So for this purpose, we need to be clicking Control plus. But notice that plus is on a button which sits above, which means it's a secondary key. So the operation is Control, Shift, and plus. The Shift just comes in because the plus button imekaa juu on the secondary line, and to activate the secondary functions, we need the plus button. So press Control, Shift, and plus. But in case you have a laptop that plus sits comfortably on its own button, then press Control plus, you shall have the same results here. So we have a new blank row. I intend to use this new blank row to merge these two names into one beautiful name. Niko na mtu. So to do that, we have several ways. And when you later come to look at my explanation sheets, by the way, my explanation sheets has a lot of notes. Yeah, I'm only going to show you those notes so that you don't take your time focusing on them at this moment when you're busy. So I'll tell you how to uncover whatever information is in there. So back to our workings. So there are a lot of ways of merging this data, but I think I'm going to give us the easiest for this moment. And then after class, when you're reading the explanations data set, you'll be able to get additional ways of doing this. I'm going to use the simplest formula that many people don't use, and that is called the ampersand. You know the way we say John and Mary, but because you're lazy, instead of writing and, A-N-D, you write that, what do we call it? The sign for and, the one that sits on button number 7. You see, but your button number 7 has that and sign. That and can be used in a formula to merge data. And what we're going to do is we're simply going to say equals. That is how we write formulas on Excel. Equals. What is the first name that I want? The word customer. So click on customer. I believe somebody has. Press and, that Shift 7. It will put the and sign. Then the second name I want is name. Imagine press and enter and we are done. You shall see the word customer name imprinted there. Somebody confirm you have customer name combined in one cell. If you did the right thing, then it is. What we did is equals. Click on the first name customer and Shift 7. Then click on the second name, press enter, and you have the name. But because I know somebody in this listening here is very keen with their English, somebody is going to tell me, but you know, the name has been merged. I need a space between customer and name. And I'll tell you there's a work around it. So what you need to do is go to the word customer name, put your cursor just after your and sign, and put a space. Now, to be comical and funny, I'm going to put 10 spaces and press enter. And you shall notice the word customer name is still customer name without a space. So that was to tell you that irrespective of the number of spaces you put, when functions in Excel are calculated, all the spaces are trimmed out. Excel assumes that, you know, you were just drunk or tired or lazy or whatever was happening and you press the space without realizing you were pressing the space. You have to really put in the space if you mean to put it. And how you put or force a space inside your data is, again, just put your cursor after the and sign. All right. Then assume you're writing in Kiswahili, there was this question tulikuwa tunaambiwa baba alimwita, then report it in reported speech. Then you write kuja hapa in double quotes, baba alisema. You remember that kind of thing? Yes. So I'm going to need you to find the double quotes. The double quotes, I'll just print them so you can see. You see the sign I just printed, you know, the speech marks but the one that comes double. Do not press the one that comes single twice. That will not work. We need the one that comes coupled up. So press the double speech marks, put a space, and press the double speech marks again. So basically, we are putting this space that we're looking for inside the two speech marks, all right? So that we are now combining 3 words instead of 2 words. The and, which is actually called ampersand. So I'm just going to quickly run to the comment box and write you the name of this and. So I'm going to write and, that is not and, so and equals, also called ampersand. That is the name. I've put it in the chat box. So what we're going to do here is come and write A1 and put the 2 double quotes, have a space in it, and put another glue. Remember, we said the ampersand is our glue. So basically, we are joining A1 and a space and A2. Then press enter. You shall now realize that your customer name actually have a space. And instead, in assuming this time I had put my 10 spaces like last time, then my data shall come with all the 10 spaces. You realize? Yes. So you put the space inside the 2 double quotes like that, then that is able to work. That is able to work. So now we have the word customer and name combined. Somebody, I believe, has achieved it. Then we don't, of course, repeat it here. So I'm going to come and pick the word customer name, put my cursor on this small green button here. It's bold and black for some laptops. I'm using Office 365. That could be a difference. For Office 16 and below, it could be a black bold button. So put your cursor on the autofill button and then drag it all the way to the end of your data like that. And then you shall have those 2 names combined the way we wanted them to be. We shall have those 2 names combined the way we wanted them to be. That means at this point, then we can now proceed and delete A and 1 and 2. But be very keen. Should you decide to delete 1 and 2, then this formula shall fail, because currently this formula is reading from the inputs of 1 and 2. So what you need to do first is copy this data, Control-C to copy, then like we pasted as values at that time, you click on the downward paste button on the drop down on the paste icon, then click 1, 2, 3 to paste as values. Click 1, 2, 3 to paste as values like that. Then we shall have the formula behind the data removed. You notice that happened, so we don't have the formula. I can now comfortably proceed to delete 1 and 2 by pressing Control minus. Do not forget, you want to delete, Control minus. You want to add, Control plus. You might want to throw in Shift because of the way keyboards are organized. Now, to just be able to remind me that this first row is now the headers, I'm just going to press Control B to change my fonts to color blue. Is that what Control B does? No, Control B makes them bold, not blue. That was comical. So you press Control B to make them bold, and now we have a graduated color, graduated headers for our